today I'm going to be reviewing Varisu, a movie starring Vijay that's directed by Vamshi Paidapalli. And I hadn't really heard much about him before this movie, and the only thing I did see about him was this. So I just realized that I said director and not producer when I first filmed this, and now I realized that it was the producer who said this and not the director. I'm an idiot and this joke doesn't make any sense, so please ignore that. Okay, back to the review.
Dance venuma, dance irriku. Fight venuma, fight irriku. Vijay sir body language scenes venuma, adi irriku. Finally, emotion also irriku.
Fuck you say to me, you little shit!
But he does have a Filmfare Award, so I'm sure this movie is gonna be good, right?
No! No!
So when I sat down to write this review initially, I struggled to make it concise, and my original notes was 10 pages long, and so I realized that I could find a mistake in pretty much every single scene. But I think going through this movie chronologically would probably not work well in its favor. So instead, going to break this down into 3 categories, which is going to be story, characters, and technical aspects. So, I guess from a story standpoint, this is pretty simple to describe. It's basically an estranged son comes back for a family event and realizes that the whole happy family facade it's just that, it's a facade, and comes to fix it while taking over his father's business. This is a pretty simple summary, right? But for some reason, the story is so convoluted, I have no idea why. So the setup for this movie has to introduce 200 different characters, and none of them are fleshed out. So the way they introduce these people is because some guy comes for tea because him and Rajendran, the father, the patriarch of the family, are doing business together, and there's no emotion or anything. It's just, hey, this is my family, this is my son, this is my daughter-in-law, whatever, this is, it's so bad. I literally feels like they're reading out stats from Pokemon cards. I'm not even kidding. It's just be hey, this is Jay Rajendran. His special attacks include adultery and attempted murder on his family. What is this? It's not even there's any emotion in the acting or anything like that. Sharat Kumar just comes in and he's this is son number 1, this is son number 2. Sharat Kumar checked out of this movie a long time ago. I think the only thing that was keeping him from not running off the set was literally the fat paycheck they were waving in front of his face every time he came onto it. I think the most frustrating thing for me personally is that even if supposing the main character is really annoying, a lot of times side characters can be somewhat interesting, so you can latch on to them. No, this movie doesn't even have that. The main villain of the movie is Prakash Raj's Jayaprakash, and I have no idea why he's in the film. I feel his only job in the movie was to make Rajendran look good, and then that's it. I have no idea why he was in the film, and it's really frustrating because Prakash Raj is really trying in this role for the most part, but it's why was he even in this movie? The conflict of having 3 people fight for the chairman is already baked into the plot, right? You don't need an extra villain. He doesn't add anything, and he just doesn't even get any comeuppance pretty much in the end. It's so silly. And then if you look at the love interest in the film, she's also completely useless. I think she has 10 minutes of screen time throughout the film outside of songs, and I have no idea why she's in it. Why was she in the movie? To show us that puberty exists? Thanks, movie, I didn't know that already. And as a result, this movie is so boring. I feel I'm reading the cliff notes of an actually interesting film. like, oh, these two, you think they have a perfect marriage? No, actually, he's a cheater. Oh, so you think this guy must be a competent businessman considering he's the director of a company? No, actually, he's an idiot who loses billions of rupees. It's like, what are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do? Honestly. In fact, even the one character who's presented as like the least problematic slash somebody who you could get behind, the mother, the matriarch of the family, also has problems. I mean, she literally tries to prevent her daughter-in-law from leaving after she finds out that her husband cheated on her. Like, what do you want in this? Do you want this to be fixed? I'm sorry, but it can't be fixed. He cheated on her. Jesus Christ, what are you thinking? So basically, without a single interesting character, this movie limps forward to the second act of the movie and, leaves all of us watching want to rip our skin off just to feel something. Anyway, second half of this film is basically just a Vijay's cool reel. Like, most of the plot points don't go anywhere and they don't even make a lot of sense. Like, the first one that they do is make him the chairman of the company, which I don't know if that's the best idea, Mr. Rajendran. I think most people would just retire and promote internally. Is there no other C-level exec that could run this company outside of him? I mean, he doesn't even have that much experience. He's barely the CEO of a startup that started like a few months ago, or at least got only funding at most a few days ago. And how is he at all, like capable of running a big like billion-dollar company from that? How did you get that from him? So obviously, because of this colossal failure in management, the existing employees get pissed off, and the two brothers who are directors of the company throw hissy fits and leave the house. And after all this stuff, instead of firing the two directors that threatened to like tank company stocks and threatened the chairman, like they just leave them there. What? Most sane companies don't leave employees like this. And it's not even like they're like competent directors where you could be like, oh, maybe they just have anger issues and let it slide, which I don't think people do that, but I'll give you that one. Like, the first guy literally loses money because he wanted to have an extramarital affair with this woman who disappears after the first hour of the film. And the second one has a failed business attempt that has raked in crores of rupees in losses. Like, these people are very like high on the food chain, right? Companies don't let these things slide. These are huge losses. But all right, okay, fine. They are related to the current chairman and to the previous chairman. So maybe we'll give them like one more chance to not mess up. And you know what these people do with that chance? Well, the first guy casually tries to kill his boss. So he casually tries to kill his boss and nothing happens. Like, he literally comes there and gloats about it and says that you better like step down from chairman if you want to like live. You can't do that. That is a crime. I'm pretty sure conspiracy to commit murder is definitely a crime. So at the very least, you should get terminated and definitely have a lawsuit against you. But like, he just stays on as director? I mean, what kind of company are you running? On a side note, how badly do you think they're paying their employees that they're willing to be hitmen for someone else? I mean, I think that like union strike that has been going on inside was pretty warranted. Like imagine this union is just being like, sir, we're literally making 100 rupees in wages. We can't even feed ourselves, let alone our family. Can we please have some more money? And Ajay is just like, man, what the hell are you smoking, union leader? This is your job. Fix it. I need my 550 crore rupee bonus so I can pay off my debts. So apparently, Mr. Rajendran didn't tell his board members that he was appointing his son as the chairman. Which, what was he thinking? I mean, what did he expect? Obviously, the board files a no confidence motion against him. That's what would happen. So anyway, taking advantage of this, Ajay tries to step in as chairman. And till this point, for the most part, Vijay has been a decent person. in the sense that he's only like hit or attacked somebody when he gets attacked himself. But suddenly, at this point, I guess the film couldn't find any way for that to work, that they just straight up turn him into a complete idiot who starts blackmailing board members in front of a government official, and the government official doesn't do anything about it. He's just like, oh, this is within the rules. This is absolutely not within any rules. This is blackmailing board members. You can't do that in any campaign. That is not acceptable from any sense of the word. I mean, seriously, I don't care what the internet tells you, but saying in a video game or in a book is not a reason to consider it not blackmail. That does not stand up in court. I don't know who thought of this idea. You guys are stupid. All right, I'm sorry. I needed a shower and a nap, and it's the next day. Anyway, yeah, these two are still directors in this company, despite the fact that they have done some things that are definitely very illegal and very questionable. Yeah, so I have no idea how they're still directors. In fact, they have so much power in this company that they're somehow able to close down mines that the company depends on. So just full-blown mutiny right now, and this is not like something that is possible in most places, because most companies would have terminated them first of all. But anyway, even if that wasn't the case, they still wouldn't be able to do this because they're either working for the other company, which is definitely illegal because that would, be against most contracts that employees sign, or number two, they are giving away like important, like secret, like confidential secret information of the company to the rival team, which would also be extremely illegal, and would also result in termination in some kind of lawsuit. So I have no idea how they're doing this. And I don't know why it's in the movie, because that is not at all how companies work. Oh, never mind. I know why it's in the movie. It's because Vijay can pull this like 4,000 mega brain IQ move, He basically convinces his investor that he invested in his startup to somehow bait the rival company into using him as an investor, and then basically plays like some extra IQ moves and prevents him from like actually shelving out the money, and therefore nothing happening. Like, what do contracts not exist in this universe? You can't do that. I'm pretty sure that something would have been signed beforehand saying that, hey, I will shelve out this money for you. I am almost confident that this would result in a lawsuit for the investor. Like, you can't back out of deals like this. I don't understand how these things can happen. These things don't happen. This is, where are we? This complete anarchy. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so stupid. And the biggest thing that pisses me off is the fact that did these people do no background checks on this investor? They were just like, oh, he's fine. If they maybe had done some background check, wouldn't that have like pointed back to the fact that this guy was one of the major investors in Vijay's startup? And wouldn't that have raised any red flags for these people? What the hell are they doing? And it's this film honestly makes me so angry, because not only does it have plot points that actually connect to the plot that don't make any sense, there are literally story arcs that happen in this film that mean nothing in the grand scheme of things and don't add anything to the movie. Like, for instance, there's this like sudden 10-minute like plot point that Ria gets kidnapped in the film, and I have no idea where it came from, and I have no idea where it's going. Like, I guess maybe the point of this is to like show that obviously, difficult things might bring families together, right? But it's like, it's not difficult because honestly, the police figured everything out so fast. And like, can we just take a moment to look at this police station? Like, what police station looks like this? Most police stations I've seen look like lecture halls that have been abandoned that they've just decided to use for the police station. Anyway, forgetting all that, these people figure out every angle, like they know they have this like CCTV footage that's in full HD 720p color. Somehow, I don't know how they have this, because that is not how CCTV cameras look like in real life. So they can just zoom in, see the number plate, follow it throughout the city, which again, I don't think there's CCTV cameras located everywhere in the city. And then somehow finally manage to get into this area where they like finalize and say, oh, this is where it was. And they've done all this background investigation, and they still somehow can't mobilize the task force to get into this place. So now they've like built this up as this amazing thing, and then suddenly in 2 seconds Vijay goes, finds everyone, kills them, shoots them down, whatever, and gets the girl back. So how is this a difficult lesson? Your kid was missing for a few hours, which sure is something that's very difficult to handle. I don't blame people for being traumatized for that. But your first instinct when this happened was to just yell at your like ex-wife or like separated wife or whatever. And did you even learn anything from this? It feels like this shouldn't be such a big changing moment for you, because you didn't learn anything at all. Honestly, this movie is so bad that the last like scenes are not even worth talking about. That is how inconsequential it is to anything, anywhere, ever. Except for this one thing that I realized. Fun fact, Vijay and Prakash Raj haven't worked together for 12 years, and they had the audacity to reference one of their actually fun previous films, Gilly, in this movie, and it just made me so angry that I don't even know what to do to you guys. So there's a line in this movie that goes, everyone is flawed in this family. And I think the line was written in to show that, everyone in this family makes mistakes, but they're all endearing and fun in their own way, but it doesn't really work that way, and comes across more as an excuse for people to like the characters because they forgot to put in the endearing part. So let's break down some of the biggest characters that stood out to me in this film and how all of them suck. So let's start with Rajendran himself. Alright, this guy sucks. I mean, he is such an incredibly bad character. This man is so obsessed with races that he has horses all around him. Like, holy shit, can't you just like your family? Like, why can't you just care for them? In fact, it is so difficult for him to do that literally it takes him getting cancer for him to even try to attempt to care for his like family members. And even then, he doesn't really do it. Like, he's traumatized all of his kids so much to the point that one of them literally ran away from home. The other two are willing to commit serious crimes just to get a chance to sit on that chairman seat. Like, this is not a character you can humanize or at all accept, because that is like such immense pressure that you're putting on children. Like, what is wrong with you, man? And it doesn't help that Sharad Kumar literally has just one expression throughout the movie. It makes everything about this character so much worse, honestly. And if supposing you have this kind of a parent in real life, usually this is what compels children to go no contact with their parents. And the fact that they think that we can reconcile with such characters is absolutely insane to me. And I have no idea how they could even think of putting this in the movie. He sucks. I hate him. Let's next look at the matriarch, Sudha. So she was kind of the character I was sort of rooting for most of the film, because like while she isn't necessarily like a great person or anything, it just seemed like most of what she was just a victim of circumstance. And I was kind of hoping that she would also leave with her son after she wakes up from her trance. But then they just don't like follow that at all. Suddenly, for instance, she starts feeling sad that her son is leaving, instead of focusing on the fact that he became the CEO of $1 million company. Like, he literally has a unicorn under his belt, which is absolutely amazing. So why don't you just feel happy for him instead of focusing on like other things? And I know I've already brought this up, but the fact that she somehow thinks that like she can like fix the issue of the fact that her son cheated on his wife is what? Like, no, this is not fixable. He's a terrible person. And this is exactly what would happen after what he did to her. Alright, let's go next to the eldest son, Jay. Where to even begin? Where to begin with this guy? Alright, let's start with the fact that he's an absolute idiot. Okay? He's at a business summit and he decides to go full flirty with his mistress in front of press, in front of other businessmen, everything. What the hell are you thinking is going to happen, man? Like, what are you thinking? And let's not ignore the fact that he slaps his wife after she gets reasonably upset that he cheated on her. And not just this, he also neglects his daughter to the point where she's literally chain smoking and he has no idea. I mean, how does he do all these things and still manage to reach newer lows in the film? He is irredeemable, and sure, he can accept that fact and move on. But come on, man, getting back together with your wife is off the table. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Alright, next is Ajay. I don't think he's like that bad, in the sense I don't really hate him or anything. He's definitely not like uncontroversial. I mean, this guy literally leaked company secrets to their rivals. Oh, and also, he started a company that would be considered as a direct conflict of interest to his role as director. So for sure, this guy should have been fired, and definitely the companies should have pursued legal action against him. But I don't think that like anything he did was like necessarily unjustified or insane. He's just really, really bad at his job. Alright, let's move on to Ria. Honestly, this character just seems like a dig at Gen Z for whatever reason. Oh, look at this character. She's always on her phone. You know, back in my day, kids used to go outside and play. Ah, the good old days. I mean, what is the point of this character? To tell us that every generation has a different childhood? Thank you, uncle. I needed to know that. I mean, I grew up in the generation that had computers throughout their life, but not social media. Obviously, that differs from kids that were born 10 years after me who had social media their whole life. Every kid's childhood is different. That is obvious. Like, imagine if we showed your generation's childhood to a kid from the 1800s, uncle. Do you think they'd like that? I bet they'd probably beat you to death with a shoe, because they were too busy toiling away for the British and getting married at 12. Do you think that they could conceive of televisions or radios or, you know, having a real childhood or women getting educated? No! I get, obviously, that screen time of children is something that we need to talk about and it's a serious issue. But this surface level, barely anything, is just lazy boomer commentary. Aarti. Another character that I was kind of rooting for in the beginning until they just went and ruined her. The thing is that she is somewhat relatable. I mean, I get struggling with divorce. Obviously, it's very difficult to justify something like this when there isn't anything inherently wrong with your relationship. It just feels like you're not getting any intimacy or affection from your husband. It's even more difficult when there are kids involved, and obviously there's a social stigma against divorce, and there's like so many reasons that you can think of that it's just better to sit and accept it than move on and face like problems from everyone, right? So when she finally finds out that her husband's cheating on her and is willing to slap her in front of his entire family and all of his friends, she snaps and she leaves. Honestly, if this had been the end of her story, and if supposing this was what they used as motivation for Jay to turn over a new leaf, I would have been like, yeah, of course. And honestly, I would have been more accepting of his character, because that is like a huge thing that is making him realize, you know, that maybe he should be a better person. But no, that's not what happens. She talks to Vijay once and her kid gets kidnapped, and then she's like, nope, fuck this divorce. I'm gonna go home. Like, what? And you know, that's not even the most frustrating part, alright? She goes home, her idiot husband comes running to her and just says sorry once, and she just hugs him and everything's forgiven? What? No, 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 no. All right, what you actually should be doing is, what is wrong with you? You slapped me in front of your entire family. Oh, and also, there was one more thing that I forgot, right? Right, you cheated on me. And all you have to say is sorry? I should launch you into the fucking sun. Honestly, fuck this character, fuck Jay, and fuck the idiot who wrote this spineless idiot. Alright, let's move on to the main character, Vijay. What? I actually don't know what to make of this guy. Like, I really don't. To start with, he's like this rebel with a cause type who like leaves his family because he doesn't want to put up with them anymore. Then after that, he turns into this family sentimental man who's willing to literally give up everything just to take care of his family. And then after that, he turns into this character who suddenly starts breaking the fourth wall. Like, there's this scene where he literally looks directly at the audience. Is he supposed to be aware that he's like a character in a movie? I mean, what is happening? Explain yourself. Honestly, I think the actor just gave up halfway through the film and just started being like, okay, I'm gonna start pointing out plot holes now. Because I seriously can't think of any other reason why any of this would be in the movie. All the other characters are pretty inconsequential. Yogi Babu is just this guy who's there to be laughed at because he's fat. And I'm sure those jokes aren't old. I'm sure that hasn't been said since the dawn of time. I'm sure all of us are laughing at all of this great humor. And then Divya is just there to be hot and get courted. And Jay Prakash is there because he's a guy who is... I think it's just because he hates another company? I have no idea. Alright, let's move on to technical aspects of this film. What the hell? Do they even know how to film a movie? To start with, most of this film takes place on a green screen. Why? I mean, like, obviously I get not doing everything on location. That can be expensive, and building sets can also cost money. So sure, some things it makes sense to do computer generated. But like, does everything have to be computer generated? You couldn't even rent a villa to film it? Like, what? I feel like, honestly, the set for this movie, like the only like set that they ever made, was this giant room that they painted all the walls and the floor green, and they were like, all right, let's film everything here, you know. And even if you're willing to accept that, all right, you would think that because that's what they're planning to do for the whole film, they would find VFX artists who actually are competent and know what they're doing. No, that is not the case. These great VFX artists couldn't even figure out how to overlay images onto a TV screen. Oh, great. Look at that. Look at that garbage area, guys. That's really good. Good to know that that's in the film. I mean, what? The estimated budget for this film is 200 crores. 200 crores. What are you doing? Did you give all of it to Vijay and then suddenly we're like, shit, we only have 10 rupees left? Here you go, VFX artists. I'm sure you can make a competent film with that, right? And honestly, the even more terrible part is probably the editors, because oh my god, the editors in this movie. Did you get anything? I'm sorry, man. I feel like they didn't even pay you. Because what is happening? Alright, look at this shot. Why would you cut to yourself? Who does that? What is the meaning of this? Why? Why is this in the movie? What is happening? And honestly, I think even the cinematographer gave up on this film, because some of these shots freak me out. I mean, why are these headshots so zoomed in? I mean, I watched this on a television screen, And I already thought Rashmika was gonna eat me alive. Imagine if I saw this in like a movie theater. I think I would have had a heart attack. And you wanna know the most insulting part about this film? The music videos that they released to promote this stuff look like a completely different film. I mean, seriously, how do these look like the same film we're watching? They don't look like they belong in the same universe. This looks like somebody actually knows what they're doing about. How dare you use this stuff to show off your piece of shit, god awful movie? So, when I first started researching this movie, I came across this post on r/Collywood, and honestly, I think is pretty accurate. I feel like the director like didn't care about anything because he was like, "Oh, Vijay's in this movie, so I'm sure it'll do well." And like, sadly, it did. It isn't to say that Vijay isn't good in this film. In fact, I think he's the only good thing about this film. Everything else, the story, the editing, the cinematography, the VFX, all of it is so bad that I don't think that Vijay's like natural charisma is enough, you know, to make up for all of those things. Honestly, it's like a 1 on 10 movie, and that's me being really, really generous. Honestly, I know that there's one more thing that needs to be covered when doing a review of this film. But I don't want to talk about that, so bye! Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below what you thought of this movie. Bye!